During an emergency, obtaining and preparing food can also become difficult. If your power goes off, eat any perishable foods first, including the food in your refrigerator. Next, eat the food in your freezer. Frozen foods can keep for a few days without power, but don't open the freezer any more than necessary. If the frozen food still contains ice crystals, it should be safe to eat. If you have any doubts whether a food is safe to eat, discard it. Non-perishable food from your pantry should be eaten next. Make sure to have a manually operated can opener on hand. Many of these foods, such as juice, canned fruits and vegetables, ready-to-eat cereal, crackers, tuna, and peanut butter, need no preparation. Other foods, such as dry noodles, instant soups, beans, rice, and other dehydrated and dried foods, require only boiling water to prepare. In addition to the foods you normally keep on hand, you may wish to store an emergency reserve supply. Avoid foods that are high in salt or fat content. Plan on 3 meals per person per day, and remember that the average adult requires around 2,000 calories each day. Be sure to include protein, grains, dried beans, fruits, vegetables, and dairy products. For proper nutrition, you will need to have a variety of foods from each group. As extra insurance, it may be wise to store vitamin supplements for your family also. Keep in mind any special dietary needs, as well as your family's food preferences. And don't forget comfort foods, such as cookies, instant cocoa, and coffee, tea, and candy. These can be very welcome in stressful times. Both the taste and the nutritional value of foods will deteriorate over time, so remember to rotate your stored food, using up items and replacing them every 6 months or so. Write the purchase date on each product, or if you purchase and store food in batches, you can use several different color of stick-on dots to color code each batch. Do not attempt to store any canned products if the can has been dented, as there will be a higher likelihood of spoilage. Storing new purchases at the back of your existing supplies makes rotating easy. Just use the foods in front first. For maximum storage life, keep canned and packaged food in a cool, dry place away from sunlight. Ideally, the temperature should stay between 40 and 70 degrees at all times. Do not store food directly on concrete or dirt surfaces, as that can cause moisture buildup, leading to mold or rust problems. If bugs or high humidity are a problem where you live, you may want to take extra precautions, such as rotating your foods more often and storing items such as flour, pasta, cornmeal, and rice in airtight containers. For lower maintenance, long-term storage, you may wish to consider the large selection of freeze-dried and dehydrated foods available. Both freeze-drying and dehydrating are processes which remove most of the water from foods. The resulting products take up less storage space and have a longer shelf life than fresh or canned food. In freeze-drying, food is flash frozen and then placed in vacuum chambers where the moisture is evaporated with the aid of low-level heat. This process preserves much of the original nutrition, color, flavor, texture, and aroma of the food. There is a wide variety of freeze-dried foods, including pre-cooked meats, entrees, side dishes, vegetables, and desserts. Since they are often sold in lightweight pouches and require only water to prepare, these foods have been popular with campers and hikers for years. Larger, multi-serving cans are also available, which can have a shelf life of 15 years or more. Pouches, which include an oxygen-absorbing packet, have a shelf life of 5 years or more, but take care not to puncture the pouches. The somewhat higher cost of freeze-dried foods can be offset by their ease of preparation and the variety they can add to your menu. Dehydrated food has had moisture removed at temperatures below cooking level. Foods which are commonly dehydrated are fruits, vegetables, and milk. Perhaps less familiar are dehydrated margarine, eggs, and cheese, all of which would be impractical to try to store long-term if fresh. Foods made of texturized vegetable protein are also available dehydrated and can provide a convenient meat substitute. These items may require more preparation than canned or freeze-dried foods, but they are economical, and in combination with staples such as grains, rice, and beans, they form a sound base for any long-term food storage program. Although no stored food lasts forever, commercially dehydrated products can have a shelf life of 15 years or more. Packaging techniques have a great impact on how long foods will keep. Look for freeze-dried and dehydrated foods packed in double enamel cans, that is, enamel on both the inside and outside of the can, for greatest longevity. The oxygen content of the food also affects its shelf life, so look for products with a maximum oxygen content of 2%. A stable oxygen level this low can be achieved by flushing the can with nitrogen and adding an oxygen-absorbing packet. Check the manufacturer's literature concerning their food selection, quality control, packing procedure, oxygen content, nutritional values, and recommended shelf life of their products. Some people may wish to preserve their own food for future use, either by canning or dehydrating. There are many resources available to teach you the proper techniques, but bear in mind that the shelf life of these foods will not be as long as for the commercially processed versions. Canned foods do not need to be cooked before eating, although some may not taste as good if they're eaten cold. Freeze-dried food requires water to prepare, but does not need to be cooked. Most dehydrated foods will require extra water, as well as a way to cook them. You may want to practice preparing your freeze-dried or dehydrated food before an emergency situation occurs. Charcoal and gas barbecue grills are fine for emergency food preparation, but they should only be used outdoors. Not only are they a fire hazard, but they also produce high levels of deadly carbon monoxide gas. If necessary, a camp stove can be used indoors, but be careful to provide plenty of ventilation and keep a fire extinguisher nearby. For any of these, you will need to store extra fuel and observe proper safety precautions. And don't forget plenty of waterproof matches. A note of caution: in extreme situations, if you have food but no water, do not eat. The body requires water in order to digest food, so eating can increase your need for water. Be sure you have at least 2 quarts of drinking water per day. You may want to keep a supply of paper towels, paper plates and cups, and plastic tableware on hand to save on washing up if water is scarce. Also, be sure to have sturdy, covered garbage containers and plenty of garbage bags and ties in case garbage pickup is disrupted.